Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings to all the sincere brethren out there. To you I say Shalom. Never trust thy enemy. Okay? Don't trust the so-called white man, because they are our top enemy, right? These other nations are our enemy as well. But our number one enemy is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay? They're the Edomites, according to the scriptures. And that's our top enemy. That's our top foe. Look at his track record. Look at what he's doing to us as a nation. Look at what he's doing to the earth. Okay? He's setting up darkness for light and light for darkness. He put darkness for light and light for darkness. He's pushing forth unrighteous decrees. He's trying to put the alphabet community on people. He's trying to force people to conform to his philosophy, to his wicked philosophy. Look at what he's doing to us. He's still shooting us down. He's still being wicked towards us. He's polluting the waters. He's polluting the ocean. He's polluting the air that we breathe. He has an agenda, starting with the elite bankers, right? The Rothschilds, and so on. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And when you see iron starts to rust, it's going to continue to rust, especially when that iron is wet. That rust is going to continue to happen, just like the so-called white man. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that is rust, which represents his wickedness. It says, thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. So he's gonna go crouching. He's gonna act like he's humble, but yet we have to beware of him, man. And see, that's the problem with our people today. They think the so-called white man is not the devil, which the devil means deceiver. Okay? The accuser. Who's deceived these different nations? Who deceived the earth? Who's doing that? Who's deceiving people constantly? That's the so-called white man. Esau, Edom. So, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Verse 12, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So don't set this man by you. Beware of him. But our people rather vote for an Edomite to rule over them. Okay? And that's off according to the scriptures. You have to understand the nature of the so-called white man or so-called white people. They're covetous. They're very wicked. They're envious. Okay? They're greedy. They're proud. They always play like they're the victim, but really, they're guilty. They're the devil. That's why it says, never trust thy enemy. That's our enemy. It don't say friend. The so-called white man is our enemy. But the majority of our people refuse to accept that. This Exodus 23 verse. Deuteronomy 17 verse 14. When thou art come unto the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the other nations, like as all the nations that are round, that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. You see that? That's the law. If you were to set a king over you, guess what? Verse 15 says, whom Yahweh thy power shall choose. So the Lord have to choose that person, and that person has to be amongst your brethren, okay? Amongst the tribes, your people. You don't supposed to set a stranger over you. It says, thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother, okay? There you go. The scripture say, love your neighbor as yourself. It's talking about your neighbor, the your neighbor of your nation. Okay, not these heathen nations, man. These heathens, these different nations wasn't given the laws and the commandments. These laws and commandments are for the Israelites only. So you have our people still voting, right? They're making a vow, a pledge to the so-called white man. You have our people saying they voting for the lesser evil. That's wrong according to the scriptures. That's wicked. You don't supposed to do that. This is Exodus 23, verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. That's plain. You don't supposed to follow wicked people to do evil. You don't supposed to follow, you know people about to do evil and you're following that person. That's wickedness. Okay? It says, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. All right. So thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. We got our people, Jake, out here following the so-called white man, following these heathens. And guess what? Guess what you see on the scene? Guess what you see in the world? Wickedness, evil. Okay? Wickedness, evil. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 29. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, whom came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them. But all was deceit, For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. So the king sent his chief collector, and that king was Antiochus Epiphanes, sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude. Okay, that's how Esau liked to roll. And during this time, who was ruling? The Greeks, and they were Edomites. Okay, but they was going by the Greek by the name Greeks, but they're Edomites. Okay, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. You see that? And spake peaceable words unto them. Though he go crouching, though he may seem like he's being humble, it says what? But all was deceit. He's a deceiver. This the same serpent that tricked Eve and deceived Eve. It's not talking about an actual snake. No, it's talking about a man, a nation of people that were serpents, okay? That were witches and warlocks and that used sorcery to enchant people. That serpent in the garden was a wicked man, okay? That tricked Eve, and Eve gave in to the so-called white man, the serpent philosophy. All right? So the so-called white man, he's a serpent, he's the devil, and he's Satan. Satan means adversary. He's contrary to the scriptures. He don't believe in the Holy Bible. He don't believe in Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. He hates the Most High's chosen people. That's why you see wickedness being uplifted in society in today's time. And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. It was a slaughter going on, persecution. The thief cometh only to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That's the so-called white man. That's what he do. That's what he's about. He always used his sword. Ain't nothing changed, man. Never trust thine enemy. So I'm gonna read this in the Good News Translation Bible with the Apocrypha, starting at verse 29. It says, 2 years later, Antiochus sent a large army from Mysia against the towns of Judea. When the soldiers entered Jerusalem, their commander spoke to the people, offering them terms of peace and completely deceiving them. Then he suddenly launched a fierce attack on the city, dealing it a major blow and killing many of the people. He plundered the city, set it on fire, and tore down its buildings and walls. Hey, what happened during Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? Yeah. What the so-called white man did, drop bombs on Jake houses, on Jake businesses, on the different movie theaters. Then the so-called white man, he looted the towns. He looted people houses and homes. He also did that too during that Black Wall Street, and it's a story behind that, man. You see, Our people had their own thing going on. Guess what happened? Esau, he's a man full of envy. So what did he do? He set the different towns on fire. He tore down his buildings. He destroyed the city. And we're reading in verse 31. He plundered the city, set it on fire, and tore down its buildings and walls during this time. But there's many accounts like this where the so-called white man, set, you know, the towns where we were mainly in on fire. See, it's recorded in the scriptures what they do, what they have been doing, what they did. He's a thief. He's a murderer. He and his army took the women and children as prisoners and seized the cattle. Then Antiochus and his forces built high walls and strong towers in the area north of the temple, turning it into a fort. They brought in a group of traitorous Jews and installed them there. So we can stop there. The point is at verse 29 and 30. Antiochus sent a large army, with soldiers. But guess what? Verse 30, their commander spoke to the people, offering them terms of peace and completely deceiving them. What the so-called white man did to the Native Americans. So-called white man made different peace treaties with the Native Americans and broke those peace treaties, man. Hundreds of them. This is what the so-called white man do. He's a liar. He's a thief. He's crooked. He's a crooked serpent. That's what he do. He speaks with the false tongue. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, verse 13. I'm going to start at verse 11. And be not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. Lie not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in. But remember, they shall not go unpunished unto their grave. Delight not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in. You see the ungodly having pleasure in this and in that. Well, guess what? Delight not in that thing. The Lord is giving the instructions right here in the Bible. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill. So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. And that's Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, verse 13. Let's get that right here. If you keep away from someone who has the power to put you to death, you will not have to fear for your life. And that goes into, being circumspect, looking around. Know this person, know how they operate, Know the setting, be careful, be vigilant, walk in wisdom. You see a person that has the power to kill, that could be anybody, but starting with the so-called white man, right? Because he actually uses his sword on a different level, and he can get away with it. But these different people been out here, we have to keep a watch because they love and many shall wax cold. That's happening now. Iniquities abounded. Remember, we have to, stay circumspect, to look around, stay vigilant. But if you, it says you will not have to fear for your life, but if you must go near him, be very careful, or he may kill you. See, be very careful. Be conscious that you are walking among hidden traps, that you are an easy target, and we're sheep amongst wolves. These people trying to devour us, man. They trying to trap us up. So most definitely, we definitely have to walk in wisdom through the spirit of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. All praise to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachahakodash. Shalom.